So, wow, it feels good to be back. Feels great to be back, actually. Amazing. Ever since I tweaked my tripod, it's been tweaking. Let me put it like that. I really should get out of the bad habit of not being fully ready before I go live. Um, this should help. This crystal of mine. There we go. Beautiful. Actually, alright guys, so please excuse my appearance right now. I just woke up. Yes, I just woke up and I wanted to read quietly in my bed, but I wanted to read this book, not any other book. I was fixing my heater. I'm freezing. It's freezing out here in Wisconsin, let me tell you. Anywho, surrounded by idiots. Where did I left off? Oh, by the way, I was like planning in my head what to tell you guys. And I was just gonna say, for those of you guys who don't know, I have BPD, borderline personality disorder. It's very hard to deal with, even when you take meds for it, which I don't. So I take the full-on holistic approach, and it's harder. It is. It really is. I mean, it depends on the person, truth be told. Some people have a harder time with pills. I felt like I had a harder time with pills. And some people have a harder time taking the holistic approach because it's not doing enough for them. They cannot do it all on their own. And that's fine. Everybody gets the help they need from where they need it. As long as they're fine, that's what matters, you know? Honestly, I love going live. I love going live because I don't have to edit. But then I also feel bad for whoever is not here when I'm live and they watch it after. And they're like, why is she so unprofessional? And I get it. I get it, dude. Like, you know how TikTok got banned recently? And everybody was like, I don't want to post on Instagram. It feels so serious, so loud. That's how I feel about YouTube. Not gonna lie to you, I do feel intimidated coming on here and giving you anything but my best. To my abilities. The best thumbnail, the best editing. On my last video that I posted on my trip on a cruise for the first time, I even added an end screen, something I've never added before. I just try to get better at my content each and every time, and it's a lot of work. So, even the most simplest video, like, I could go to a country for a week and record 40 hours of content. Seriously. Take a bunch of terabytes with me and just go crazy every day, recording every single detail. I have to go through that footage many times before editing and after, and during and after, you know what I mean? So, and then you have to advertise, the platforms, tell people to come watch. It's a lot of work, okay? And my goal is to make you guys a travel video every week. an episode of my podcast, Conscious Concubine, every week. And when I run out of travel content, which I've been storing for years, okay, I have a lot of content backed up that I need to post for you guys. So that's not gonna happen anytime soon. But I also want to start videos where I talk about dealing with BPD and how I get myself out of a slump, even having one of the most notorious mental illnesses there are out there. You know? Oh, guys, look. Excuse me. Mm. Sorry, that's my brother in the background. He's watching comedy. Oh my goodness. I literally get allergies in the morning until I drink my first 2 glasses of water with lime and salt. I already drank the first. I have to drink the second. But I have something that can help me. I just feel like I recently was sick for a month. I'm much better now. So I feel like that's still lingering a little bit. Anyways, like I said, I came here live straight from waking up. And yes, I woke up at 2 p.m. Vicks is good for everything. Put it in my nose and I breathe it in and it helps me breathe. Anyways, yeah, I've been going to sleep ever since I came back from Thailand in October 3rd or 4th. Pretty confusing. I was jet lagged like forever. I've been going to sleep at like 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 3 a.m. the earliest, you know? It's really bad, but like I posted on Instagram today as a reminder to myself and other people that struggle with this type of stuff is that some of the healthy Hi Falcon Acer, what up? How you doing? Some of the unhealthy habits that we have are actually coping mechanisms to trauma that we endured as a child. Like you scroll, you doom scroll because you cannot handle your own thoughts. You cannot just sit there and be with your own thoughts. You feel tired all the time because years of chronic stress have left you stuck in freeze mode. And that's something that I definitely can relate to right now. You know? You stay up late because it's the only time you feel at peace. You know? You over explain and over, you know, speak because when you were young, nobody ever apologized to try to resolve issues, so you feel uneasy until the issue is fully resolved. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these habits that we had, that we do now, are just because of trauma. So it's not like, oh my god, what is in my eye? Like, seriously. Sorry. Thank you for liking the video. Okay, so anyways, I really miss going live. I've really been wanting to read this book on my own and just make a video like reviewing it for you guys, because sometimes I want to read the book but I don't want to talk out loud. I don't have the energy to even get up and serve myself a glass of water, let alone come on here and talk. Like, the BPD can be really physically debilitating, you know? Like, my mom could cook and I could have no energy to even serve myself the food and sometimes even eat it even though I'm hungry, you know what I mean? So, ah, something in my eye. So I'm just gonna keep touching it. Ah! Oh! Oh, I thought it worked. Maybe if I ignore it. No, I can't ignore it. Anyways, what I was saying is like, I put myself in a lot of pressure to come on YouTube. Gotta look good. The background gotta be perfect, gotta be ready. But if I keep trying to get ready, I will never go live. Yeah, I caught another episode. I thought you got canceled. Another episode of Conscious Concubine? You thought I got canceled from what? Gotta... From Conscious Concubine? No, I didn't get canceled. What are you talking about? No, I just stopped making it. I just stopped making it because I got weight over my head. I got in my head. Okay, basically, the podcast Conscious Concubine started like a year or two ago. 2 years ago, right? Or so. Maybe over 2 years ago. And I was posting every week. But then I went through some traumatic, like a TV show. Talking about IdsoTV, my channel. This is like a TV show. This is a very unhinged TV show. And the reason why I chose to say IdsoTV, Idso is the first four letters of my name, but it also sounds like it's so cold in here. It's so hot. It's a TV. You know what I mean? It's a TV. Or Idso tells a vision, you know? Because I'm a random person. I have a multi-personality disorder. So I have a lot of passions. And I always like to learn about new things. And I just want to take you guys on the journey with me on the things that I'm learning about, that I find cool. I love knowledge, and I always want to tell my friends about what I've learned, but they're not always interested, you know? So I was like, you know what? Instead of forcing these things down people's throat, I'm just gonna start my YouTube channel again and start posting, and whoever is interested can come. All are welcome. 1 second, let me just grab my buddy. My buddy right here. He's gonna fall. Okay, I need a recap on the book. I missed a lot. You did not miss a lot, actually, because I have not been reading it. I forced myself not to read it until I would come live. And if I really wanted to read, I could read one of the other books that I rented from the library, because I promised you guys that we will read it together. And we're gonna read it together. Okay? Sorry I've been yapping before starting on the book. I should have chapters after this. But the point is, I just wanted to tell you guys some stuff real quick. The point is, life gets hard. And other people that don't have mental illnesses, or that have mental illnesses but have a team backing them up, are able to post the content on a timely manner. You know what I mean? Maybe if I got more organized and ignore my mental illness and force myself, you know, which I try, I could also always post on time. But it's hard. I got burned out, you know, working for TikTok Shop. And I did it to myself. There's nobody to blame. I'm not complaining at all. I'm just explaining that, like, BPD doesn't allow me the self-control that I have in my head that I planned for. I just can't help myself. And I end up signing up for too many things at once and not having, like, an awareness of time. And I end up, like, overbooking myself, thinking I will make it to everything, and I don't. And then I'm like, how could I not make it? Girl, how could you make an appointment an hour away from this appointment when it takes you an hour and a half to get there? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we live in a little limbo, and I'm trying to ground myself. That's why I do yoga. That's why I meditate. And to be honest, for the past week, I haven't gone to the gym. Today's my first day going to the gym in a week, and I usually go every single day. There was a point a month ago that I was going 7 days a week, and my coach told me, one of them, hey, you need to let your muscles rest. Otherwise, you're gonna tear yourself and you're not gonna get strong. So, I'm just a human being in my 20s, learning about my mental illness, learning how to cope with it, learning how to heal it, because all mental illness can be healed. That's what we read. And yeah, I'm just gonna try to care less and try to compare myself to others less, because I'm not the same as another person. I'm not even the same as another person with BPD. We're all different. And comparing ourselves is just gonna hurt our hearts. So the point is to do better a little bit at a day. Sometimes doing better would mean laying in bed and doing nothing, because the body keeps the score. That's a book that I'm gonna read next. The body keeps the score of your trauma, right? I was listening to the audiobook, so I have some knowledge on this. Basically, there's a right part of your brain and there's a left part of your brain, and trauma comes in, and some jot it down as information, some jot it down as emotion, feeling. You need a hug, you seem so overwhelmed. Breathe with me. Let's do a 12 count. Fine, let me breathe. I am overwhelmed, but I also like to jab, because if I stop, I feel like I'm gonna stop. So, like, I'm also bipolar, so I tend to either be on one side of the spectrum or the other side. I'm either really low or really high, and I've been really low for almost 2 weeks, and now I'm finally high again. You know what I mean? And I want to take advantage of that train. So, anyways, I don't understand what's going on. I put something on the book to keep track of where I left off. And I cannot find it. Oh, here it is. It was just so skinny. Okay. So, I'm cold. And I have something on my eye. Why does this happen to me? I'm sorry, guys. It's just nothing freaks me out more than having something in my eye. Are you back? I'm gonna start reading. I was waiting for you. We left off on the blue behavior. As you guys can see, there's 4 types of behavior. And most people have 2. A rare 5% have 1. And a rare 15% have 3 or 4. I feel like I have 3.5. Or maybe that just means I have 4. So, sorry. Let's get started where we left off. Okay. So let's say someone discovers an oil stain on the floor. A red approach might be to lambaste the person closest to him and then order him to mop up the stain. A yellow sees the stain and then forgets it, but 2 days later is surprised when he slips on it. The green also sees the stain and feels a little bit of guilt because it possesses a problem and everybody is ignoring it. A blue would ask, why is there an oil spill? Yes, I'm definitely a blue. Okay, I'm all four types. I'm all four types. Okay? Okay. But in the problem thing, I would definitely act like a blue person. I just feel like in different areas, I would act like a different color. Okay, so a blue would ask, why is there an oil spill? The answer may be that a gasket is leaking. This answer, of course, is unsatisfactory for a blue. Why is the gasket leaking? They just keep asking why. Because it's poor quality. Why do we have poor quality gaskets in our factory? Because the purchasing department was told to save money. We bought cheap gaskets instead of tight seal gaskets. But who asked us to save money and compromise on quality? This is the way he goes on. Maybe the problem will resolve itself. Maybe we'll get a report of what went wrong, but nothing is done to fix the problem. In the end, the blue solution might be to review our purchasing strategies instead of just mopping up the oil on the floor. Well, that's even better, in my opinion, because you're solving the issue so that it doesn't happen again. Somebody else can clean it, maybe a green. Maybe whoever the red yells to. Maybe the yellow ones, they sleep on it and they're like, I don't want to sleep on this again, I'm upset. You know, but the blue won't be the one to clean it. That's interesting in itself. I love reading with you guys. I love to have enough energy to read with you guys today. My point is, a blue is prepared to dive deep to get everything exactly 100% correct. Blues argue that if they're going to do something, they must do it correctly, and vice versa. If a task isn't worth being done properly, then it's not worth doing at all. Perfectionist? I am trying to get rid of that trait of myself, man. When it doesn't matter, like creatively, like coming on here. Who cares? Just come on here. Oh, side note, another thing I'm proud of myself for is not getting overstimulated by wearing bracelets and necklaces. I used to not be able to wear jewelry at all because it would overstimulate me. Like, I just want to be me and barely even wear clothes. But I'm getting used to adorning myself and I like it. Anyways. Furthermore, because blues usually find it difficult to lie, they will always point out the defects they uncover. What do you want to do? Even defects that may reflect poorly on them. Exactly! Oh my god. I used to tell this to my ex all the time. I'm like, bro, why would I lie to you? I have no reason to lie to you. Why do you lie to me? Like, you're scared or something. Like, if I make a mistake, I have no problem saying I'm sorry. If it was my bad that something messed up, I have no problem saying that. What chapter is this? We are, well, this is page 56. This is chapter 7, blue behavior. I love people that are like blues. It feels like they're such trustworthy people, honestly. I clearly remember discussions my parents had when I was a child. We moved from time to time, and usually our house had to be sold, with everything that entailed. Dad, the engineer, would of course do all the work himself, and he managed the viewings personally. My mom was always upset that he began each viewing by pointing out all the flaws and shortcomings of the house. It leaked here and there, and some paint had flaked off behind the sofa. Why are you telling them that? My mother wondered. Because this and that is wrong, Dad replied. Sure, but do you have to tell that to the prospective buyers? Now they may never want to buy the house. He didn't understand the problem. As a very honorable and honest person, he couldn't hide the faults he knew were there. He could live with the fact that we rarely made a huge profit on those deals. He'd been honest about the house because that's how it should be done. Okay, so now I'm on page 57. Subtitle, that if the trail doesn't match the map, there's something wrong with the trail. If the trail doesn't match the map, there's something wrong with the trail. That sounds crazy. There should be something wrong with the map. Like, the trail is a trail, you know what I'm saying? That's funny way to put it. If the trail doesn't match the map, there's something wrong with the trail. Oh, by the way, when I'm done with this live, I'm gonna link below a link for you to access these books for free. So in case you want to watch my live while also following up where I'm reading, you're more than welcome. Hola, mami. Te amo. Tú eres linda. Tú eres bella. Cuando puedas, visítame. Okay, anyways, I was telling my mom to visit me when she's here. Okay, logical and rational thinking is critical to a blue. Out with all the feelings as much as possible. And in with logic. Of course, blues can't turn off their feelings completely. No one can. Let's meet your mom. Yes, you will when she comes in here. We look a lot alike. What am I looking for? Okay. Of course, blues can't turn off their feelings completely. No one can. But they like to say they use rational arguments when making decisions. They value logical thinking highly, but they can very easily become depressed when things don't go their way. And depression has nothing to do with logic and everything to do with feelings. It's funny because I'm the same way. As a person with BBD, I do have a lot of emotions. But when I come to make a decision, I will wait till my emotions subside. Oh, a glass. I will wait till my emotions are under control to make a decision that makes sense rationally. Because I know that emotions are pasajeros. They're like clouds. They come and then go. They're temporary. They're not here to stay. And they're not always right. Like, yes, you might feel upset about something that somebody did, but it doesn't mean that they meant to hurt you on purpose. And you may be acting or reacting in a way that, oh, this person tried to hurt me on purpose, I'm gonna get revenge. Whole time, they thought that wouldn't even bother you at all, because if you did it to them, it wouldn't bother them. Because everybody's different, and that's what we're learning about different personalities, so we know when somebody is doing something to hurt you on purpose based on their personality type, or if they're just being themselves. Hola, mami. They wanna meet you.
No, yo sé.
She don't wanna meet you guys today.
No, yo no dije eso. Yo dije que me estruja.
She says she's estruja. They don't care. Say hi.
Hi.
Say, come here.
No, yo quiero estar sushi, Sonia.
Okay, I'll show them like this. My mom says hi.
Hi.
Mommy, can I have some water, please? I can't get up. I already have my first glass, so you don't have to put salt in it. You met her. He said you look pretty. Okay, let's continue with what we came here to do. Few people can repeat the same task an infinite number of times in exactly the same way like blues can. They have a unique ability to precisely follow instructions to the letter without questioning. That's not always me. That's where my other colors come in. Provided they understood and approved of it in the beginning. Oh yeah. Of course, if they don't approve. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. I need to read the sentence before I start talking. How do they do this without getting bored or careless? Well, it's logical. If a particular method works, why change it? While a yellow or red would find new ways of doing something simply because they were bored, a blue repeats the same thing time and time again. Consider how a blue would put together a piece of furniture from IKEA. If there's a manual, then of course you have to read it thoroughly before you start. Reds, confident that they can easily do this, start screwing and putting together the various parts without even looking to see what's in the rest of the box. Yellows tear up everything, exclaiming that it's going to be great fun to get the furniture in place. They live in the future and can already see a clear picture of the new, page 58, cabinet on the red wall of the bedroom with grandma's tablecloth and a lovely vase of tulips on it. They're the creative, imaginative types. They put each part together a little bit haphazardly, without much effort, with hazard. I don't know how to say that word. Haphazardly, haphazardly, without much effort. They'll screw in a few screws where it looks logical, only to skip to another part of the cabinet. That's dangerous. A green DIY guy leans the enormous box against the wall and has a coffee break. There really isn't a hurry. Okay, so I'm an in between of green, yellow, and blue when it comes to stuff like this. Like, I'll get the menu and I'll skim it. I won't completely ignore it, and I won't start screwing stuff without looking. And then I'll skim it and I'll start screwing stuff, and when it doesn't work, I'll go back to the thing and I'll be like, oh. Hey, cute. I love you. How you doing, mommy?
I'm doing okay.
¿Qué te pasa?
Un intercambio con una empleada del trabajo.
Ay. ¿Qué pasó?
Porque ella después dijo que no lo hizo, pero yo no le creo. I had the feeling, and I know, cuando hace ese feeling, me tiró un montón de cartones en mi área, los tiró como de mala gana, y cuando yo vine de botar parte de mi basura, yo lo veía y me dio una encojonada, y yo empecé a decir, ¿quién hizo esto? ¿Quién hizo? Who did this? Who did? Y la otra dijo, había una que dijo, así, y yo sé que ella no hace eso. Y la otra supervisora venía y me oyó gritando, yo le dije, ¿quién hizo esto? Me dijo, yo no sé, yo no vi nada. Y después venía la otra, yo le dije, te voy a decir algo. Don't mess with me. No jodas conmigo. Le dije, don't mess with me. Tú no me conoces. Le dije, tú no me conoces. Y me dio la espalda y siguió caminando. Yo dije, no jodan conmigo. Y me puse tan histérica que me fui, tropecé con los cartones y dije, me voy a mi break, me voy. Y me fui. Me dio como un ataque de llanto. Después la señora del recurso humano vino a hablar conmigo. Yo le dije lo que pasó. Y ella dijo, oh, eso no puede ser así, no puede estar bullying. Ellos que se creían en supervisora. Voy a hablar con el manager cuando venga que chequen las cámaras, pero las cámaras no sirven. Las toman un reseteo, justamente. Entonces ella viene, como parece que le llaman la atención, viene al rato donde mí de lejos, me dice, hey, Evelyn, you thought it was me who did the cardboard. It wasn't me. It was a vendor. Y yo le dije, ¿en serio? ¿Y por qué cuando yo pregunté quién lo hizo no me dijiste que fue un vendor? Así le grité de allá para. Le dije, ¿por qué no me dijiste que oh, es que tú estabas muy alterada? Yo le dije, sí, estaba alterada.
Ay, le metió un puño.
Yo le dije, sí, porque vi el reguero que me hicieron en mi espacio. Fue mala gana. ¿Por qué no me lo dijiste? Yo le dije, te voy a decir una... Porque ella fue ella. Yo sé que fue, yo lo tengo aquí. Yo fue que voy a... La matamos las otras tres. Y los cartones estaban de aquí allá. ¿Cómo se movieron para acá? No caminando. Entonces me dice... yo le dije, ¿sabes qué? Te voy a decir una cosa. Tú esperas que yo trabaje muy rápido como tú. Yo soy una vieja, tú eres una muchachita joven y tienes mucha fuerza. Yo no tengo la fuerza porque ella viene jodiendo con la caja hace tiempo. Porque ella carga un montón de cajas a la vez. Y yo a mí no me paga que me joda la espalda. Yo la cargo de 2 en 2 y de 3 en 3 como yo puedo. Y siempre está como echándome, como yo, joven, y yo estoy haciendo algo. Ella viene encima de mí, hace así, y la recoge en mi cara. Y uno por poco me da un ojo con un cartón. Yo tuve que hacer así.
Qué
porque
pendeja.
viene a las cosas así, jala, y no se fija y me tira con la caja y todo. Y yo la vengo tranquila, se me vieron como bien pendejita y creyeron que ellos me podían subirse arriba de mí. ¿Sabes por qué yo sé que no fue? Yo digo, Señor, perdóname si fue un vendedor, pero yo es que no fue un vendedor. Porque tendría que coger los cartones de aquí, moverlos, caminar así y luego caminar así para llevarlo y tirarlo en mi área. No, eso no fue un vendedor. Los vendedores sí es verdad que yo a veces chocan las cosas, pero se quedan ahí mismo, ¿entiendes? Y estaban todos esplayados y todos regados. Y habían 2 cartones que eran gigantes, que iban de aquí a allá. Mentira, que un vendedor los agarró y los puso donde yo trabajo. Mentira. Eso fue ella porque me vio. Yo agarré 2 cartones y los fui llevando a la basura. Y luego ella viene con mi basura, que no le corresponde, con mi basura así, caminando así y haciendo comentarios. Después cuando viene allá para acá, ella no sabía que yo estaba tan irritada y viene, como cargando una sola cosa en vez de cargar la basura a la misma vez, que esto que lo otro, como si ella me pagara. Y hoy me vi encojonada, y chacho,
muy bien
encojonada. Yo dije, que aprenda que conmigo no tiene que estar molestándome. Porque yo no me meto con nadie, yo no hablo con nadie.
Es que la gente está amargada, mami. La gente está amargada.
Entonces ella es bien hipócrita. Ella se pasa hablando de todo el mundo, yo la oigo, no me meto. Entonces el otro día me dio risa, yo por poco me le digo en la calle, yo hice de que así. Ella se pasa hablando de una nena, una muchachita joven, así como tú, que trabaja ahí, no se mete con nadie, nada más hace su trabajo. Y viene la muchacha pasando por el lado, y ella le dice, I'm proud of you, Amber. I'm so proud of you. Y yo,
You should have laughed.
Y la
You should have laughed.
muchacha dijo, what? What? Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Ay, por favor. You should put it on the spot. You should have laughed.
Es que yo no voy a joder con nadie. Yo estoy en mi trabajo.
Es que tú no estás jodiendo con nadie. You're just having a normal reaction. Don't stop yourself from having a normal reaction to a literal clown. If a person is clowning around, what do? You laugh. If a person does something to annoy you,
yo sé que fue ella que lo hizo porque son varias cositas. El otro día, ella y otra señora. Entonces, yo vengo sacando mi Homer, mi metro, para sacar la mercancía para afuera. Y ella viene y me grita desde allá, de donde ella se pone la basura. Hey, Evelyn, can you at least get one bag of garbage before you take your metro out?
Dile que se vaya a bañar. Dile que se vaya a bañar. Mándala a bañar.
Yo luego que me grita así, yo, ¿será conmigo que está hablando? Pero dijo Evelyn, mire para acá, no hay nadie. Voy y miro a ver si dejé basura y veo que no hay basura. Y digo, what are you talking about? I already took my garbage and I keep walking. Entonces, la otra que trabajan con ella junta ahí, ella se me está hablando y todo. Y yo le digo, a veces vienen al lado mío, son dos lados, ayudarme. Cuando yo tengo mucho, ella tiene que cruzar para acá ayudarme. Ella cruza y agarra un montón de correas de hombre. Yo soy la que hago el área de hombres. Cada persona tiene un departamento así, ¿no? Del nivel de hombre. Entonces, ella hace los zapatos. Ella exige que le pongan los zapatos de una manera en el metro. Y yo entiendo, para que sea más fácil ponerlo en el piso, y yo lo hago. Entonces, ellas están haciendo mi metro, metiendo cosas y sacan una caja de correa de hombre y las correas se enganchan aquí. No hay unas cuantas, pero cuando son un montón, engancharla toma más tiempo y luego quitarla es difícil. So yo le digo, yo ve que ella saca una caja de correa y yo le digo, oh, por favor, me la puedes poner en las cajitas en vez de engancharla una a una, porque es más fácil para mí. Ella llama, estamos las tres trabajando ahí y en mi propia cara, ella mira a la otra y dice, what do you think? Should I put it in there or should I hang it? Si es mi metro, es mi metro, y yo estoy viendo que me la pongas ahí. Entonces le pide como permiso a la otra, la que me gritó los días. Y la otra le dio permiso. Y yo, sí, ok, pónselo ahí.
Son unas pendejas, they're in high school, mom. They're in high school. They're mean girls, you gotta put them in their place.
Y yo la miré y yo dije, ¿qué le pasa a esta? Pero yo igual ni le dije nada, porque yo estoy en paz, pero hoy me sacan la paz. Hoy le
Good.
Hoy le dije, para que sepa que no
they want to take out their life pain into you at work, then do it you too. That's your boxing match.
Ay, yo no aguanté. Le dije, no jodan conmigo. Don't mess with me. You don't know me. Le dije,
it would be nice if you could have spoken to them in Spanish, because it sounds scarier in Spanish. No jodan conmigo. All right, guys, we're back. Sorry about that. Mommy had to vent. Don't let nobody bully you guys. That's a lesson we take from that. I'm proud of you, mommy. What does a blue do? He reads the instructions twice, examines what everything looks like, and confirms that the different pieces of the new cabinet match the pictures in the instructions. With a slightly damp, not too wet cloth, he carefully wipes down all the different parts because they are likely to be dusty. He tallies the number of screws in the box so that he will not be surprised at the end if anything is missing. And if there are any parts left over, he may very well take the whole thing apart again. Lol. It may take a little extra time for a blue to put together his cabinet, but once it's done, you can be sure that it will stand forever. Next subtitle on page 58, The Devil is in the Details. A few years ago, I wanted to renovate the patio in my yard. Because I like working with my hands, in contrast to just talking each day, I thought I would do the job myself. Or at least part of it. My dad, well over 70 at the time, was going to help out because he knew that I was pressed for time. Easier said than done. To provide a sturdy foundation, we were going to lay down gravel. Dad arrived a few moments before the dump truck with all the gravel. He had his own wheelbarrow with him, specially designed to maneuver gravel, and a special shovel that he always used for similar purposes. He didn't understand why I was standing there with my regular shovel. Everyone knew that you had to use special shovels for things like this. The truck came and dropped a hefty pile of gravel in the driveway. I imagined a few days of shoveling before me, and to be honest, it made me feel a little tired. But I was still ready to take on the challenge. My old dad, he picked up a bit of gravel between his fingers, smelled it, felt it. Okay, so his dad is a blue. And assessed its quality. After grunting somewhat, which I interpreted as approval, he began to assess the pile itself. He measured the height of the mound with his hand. He paced how large the circumference was. I asked him what he was doing. He didn't answer, but mumbled numbers under his breath. 185. 5 meters in circumference. Gradient, After 30 seconds, he said that there were between 8.75 and 9.25 cubic meters of gravel in the driveway. I confided to him that it was actually 9 cubic meters exactly. Dad asked rather skeptically how I knew that. I pointed. It's written on the truck, I said. Dad was mildly impressed. I asked if he wanted to count each piece of gravel individually. He didn't deem that to be necessary. Okay, so our author here was being sarcastic. For hours, he walked around the site and packed and pressed, racked the gravel, soothing everything until he thought that everything was in order. He used a level, plumb line, water, all the means at his disposal, so that nothing would go wrong. The gravel needed to be laid at an incline of exactly 1 centimeter per meter. Why, you ask? It says so in the book. Because he was a construction engineer, he knew the book by heart. 1 centimeter per meter, exactly. Who knows what terrible consequences could result if you were careless about that. Consider the difference between the 1 centimeter and roughly 1 centimeter. The former is precise, the latter is imprecise. Roughly 1 meter, it could be up 2 centimeters if things went bad. From a 1 centimeter to a 2 centimeter gradient, that's a difference of no less than 100%, a huge deviation. In parentheses, it says, the funny thing about this story is not really the event itself, but, page 60, what happened when Dad read about it in the first edition of his book. He argued that's not how it really happened. He corrected the story on several points and claimed that the truck had held 12 cubic meters, not 9. He also insists that he is not purely blue and there might just be something in that. That's funny. He's like that with everything. At home, if there are any technical questions about a television, a car, a microwave oven, or a cell phone, out comes the manual. He always replies, it says here that. Why do you think they wrote this stuff if it's not meant to be done that way? He's a stick in the mud. Thomas's dad. How do you reply to that? How do you argue with the instructions manual? It's impossible to find arguments that a true blue will accept. My dad will also stop at a red light in the middle of the night, even if he's the only one within a 10-mile radius, because that's the way you do it. The great value of this approach is obvious. He will never be fooled. He will always get what he paid for. He will be the type of person, this is something I'm saying, not in the book. He will be the type of person to send an order back if they did it wrong. So he will always get what he wants. Good. It gives him an inner peace because he knows he has checked everything out very accurately. If you know any blues, I am sure you will agree with me. Under formal circumstances, they're very calm and balanced, probably because they keep tabs on everything. I am a blue when I'm not smoking weed, which I stopped a while back. I've only done it twice this year, and we're almost at an entire month. For somebody that used to do it more than 30 times a month, only 2 a month, I say it's a huge progress. Hey, you gotta clap yourself in the back for the progress you make. Sorry, I spaced out. Okay. Silence is golden. Another subtitle. Introvert. Enough said. I could stop there. Many blues I've met don't say a single word unnecessarily. That's just the way it is. Does that mean they have nothing to say? Don't they have opinions about things? Not at all. They're just very, very introverted. Blues are the calm, stable individuals the Aztecs equated with the sea, the element of water. Excuse me. For those who are new, I'm reading Surrounded by Idiots, all the different types of personality types. And right now we're reading on blue. And blues are introverts. They're not shy. They're not dumb. They just won't say nothing unless it's absolutely necessary. Quiet on the outside, but under the surface, anything could be happening. Introverted doesn't mean silent. It means active in the inner world. But the effect of this is often quiet. That is very true. You know, a lot of people that have met me, because I'm bipolar, and I also relate to all 4 personality types, which is very rare. Also as rare as only having 1. Most people have 2 or 3. So let's talk about this real quick. My mom, when I growing up, I was obsessed with books. I will always have my nose in a book. Unless we were playing a sport, which I love. If we were gonna play a sport, I would put my book down. If we were gonna make art, I would put my book down. If we were just gonna chat in the patio amongst girls, book up. Okay? If I was at church and church was over, I would try to read in church, but my mom wouldn't let me. So I read the Bible 3 times because I would rather read it than pay attention. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather read it and come up with my own conclusions by myself. Oh my God, I am a blue. Anyways, but the thing is, I don't like to socialize when I'm feeling blue. When I'm feeling yellow or red. Red, I like to socialize to make content, and yellow too. But like, when people meet me in person at a club, at a party, I'm most likely manic. I'm most likely on the other side of the spectrum, the one that wants to socialize. So people only meet that side of me because when the other side comes out, I'm in my house. I'm being that person. I'm not socializing. I'm just by myself, relaxing, reading a good book, editing, writing, just being by myself, you know? So people never get to see this side of me that doesn't want to talk. But in school, whenever I was that person and I wasn't being the usual class clown, people would be like, say a joke, why don't you? You know, and I knew that people liked this side of me more than this side of me. If that makes sense. They like more this side of me than this side of me, than this. So I knew that. So even when I didn't have the energy to be this side of the spectrum, I did it anyways. And it was exhausting because I had to keep up with who I was so that people would still like me. But then on senior year, the last year of high school, I finally got tired of it, of pretending. I wanted to be back like how I was in elementary school. Myself, reading books, geeking out, collecting stickers, going to the library, going to the art studio, and playing sports with the guys outside. That's it. That's it. I wanted to be me again, you know, because we lose ourselves in middle school and the beginning of high school. We lose ourselves along the way, and sometimes we don't even find ourselves to our early 20s or to adulthood, 30s, 40s. But I was tired, you know, because as a person with BPD, it was exhausting to act or pretend to be something that I wasn't when I wasn't. It's not that I wasn't a person completely. I like to socialize, just not all the time. You know, I'm just a person that's very complex, and a lot of people don't get that. And anyways, when I was a kid and I would be reading, my mom would always be like, "Don't be antisocial," and take my book away. Go, talk to people. And it's like, dude, I want my brain to grow. Okay? Talking to people is not gonna make me happy. You think I'm sad because I'm reading a book? I'm rejoicing myself. I'm having so much fun. When I get overwhelmed by the book, or I get over it, or I feel like I've read enough for this past year, I put the book down and I go outside when I want to. And it feels natural to me. And why am I telling you all this? Because you should do the same, bro. You should do what feels natural to you. Every single human being is different. Once again, I'm having OCD with this cabinet that's open. Oh my God, it was annoying me. Not gonna hold you. It was annoying me, but now I'm free. Yeah. I don't know, one day when my YouTube blows up, whether it's from travel content or my podcast or inspirational content, because after I'm done reading this to you guys, I'm gonna make a resumen. ¿Cómo se dice eso en inglés? I'm gonna make a recap of the book. 30 minutes is a month, so that people that don't want to read the book or can't always make it to my lives can just watch and learn. Okay, surrounded by these personality types, and they can quickly know who they are. You know? In my own words. Paraphrasing from what I learned in the book, without looking at the book, I'm just gonna talk about what I learned from it. And hopefully it'll be animated. But anyways, we'll get to that. The point is, once that blows up, maybe some people would wanna come back and watch my old lives. And even you watching me right now, my dear friend, Von Voss Mars. Even you could use this advice. I don't know who could use it. I just say it out loud because it felt right, okay? Alright. In general, my advice is to listen attentively when blues do actually talk, because they've usually thought through what they say. So why are they so silent? Among other things, it's because they, unlike yellows, don't feel the need to be heard. Oh my God! That's me right now. I'm acting very yellow because I'm manic, because I haven't slept in months. And I do feel the need to be heard sometimes. That's why I'm not just sitting here reading the book and I'm telling you about my own personal experiences and thoughts on it. I'm sorry, I hope that's not annoying. Some people like that type of stuff though, especially on social media, so I shouldn't be sorry for who I am when I am who I am. If that makes sense. Sitting in a corner and not being seen or heard makes no difference to them. Blues. They are observers, spectators, more than central characters. They can find themselves at the edge of a group where they observe and record everything that is said. And don't forget this. According to a blues values, being silent is something positive. If you have nothing to say, keep quiet. You know, before I tell you the last thing on blue behavior, the conclusions, I will say this. You know K-pop groups? I saw this TikTok trend of people saying, I don't care about the main character, give me the guy that's in the back quietly observing everybody. And it's just crazy to me because when I start getting more traction and more attention, people are going to be very confused by me. They're going to make their own speculations. If I go viral being a crazy yellow person, when they see the blue side of me, they're going to be like, something's wrong with her. And I'm going to have to keep explaining on interviews, nothing's wrong with me. If you've ever read the book Surrounded by Idiots, you would know that I'm just blue right now. And that doesn't mean sad. Anyways, conclusions on blue behavior. Do you know everything about blues? Have you identified some blues in your life? My mom's husband. Bill Gates and Albert Einstein both used their attention to detail and meticulous nature to build their success. We also have Sandra Day O'Connor and Condoleezza Rice And of course, from the fictional world, Mr. Spock from Star Trek as the perfect blue, all logic. Hey Morty, Dorty, Patorty! What are you doing, my body? What are you doing, my body? What are you doing, my body? Ooh, what are you doing, my body? Ooh, my body. My body, body. Sorry. He's so cute and adorable and funny and adventurous. Adventurous. He's in the window. It's funny because have you guys ever seen the show? Oh my god, I'm spacing on it. It's on HBO. Is this show? Oh my goodness. Oh my god, I closed the book. You wanna go up there, Morty? Okay, let me help my cat get up here. There you go, Morty. Look out the window, look out the door, look out the window, look out the door. He likes to look out the window. Morty! Okay, so what was I saying? Have you guys seen Young Sheldon? Young Sheldon is in a different show that started before Young Sheldon. Oh my god. No, this is gonna kill me if I cannot tell you guys this right now. So I'm just gonna look it up real quick. Sheldon Cooper. The Big Bang Theory. There you go. If you've ever watched The Big Bang Theory, you know that Sheldon is a blue. And you also know that he's obsessed with Mr. Spock, who's also, according to this book from Star Trek, he loves Star Trek, also a blue. All logic, rationality, and intellect. Come say hi, Morty. Come say hi. Okay, bye. I love you, Bobby, 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 Dobby, Dobby, Dobby. Let me see your booty. All logic, rationality, and intellect, even if a few of the jokes slip past him. He can't catch on jokes. Me neither. People be like, I was joking, and I'm like, sorry, your joke wasn't funny. Chapter 8. No one is completely perfect. Ah, amazing. Love that. We gotta remind ourselves that daily. Strength and weaknesses. As the title of this book suggests, there are individuals around us who, under less favorable circumstances, we may find challenging to understand. There are others we don't understand at all, no matter what the situation is. And the most difficult to interact with are those who aren't like us, because they obviously behave incorrectly. The differences begin to become clear. You can see the general differences among the different colors. The illustration on page 63, unfortunately, is mirrored, so it says blue, red, green, and yellow. Up here we have task-oriented and issue-oriented, which is blue and red. Down here we have relation-oriented, which is green and yellow. To the right, we have extrovert, active, and implementer, which is red and yellow. And to the left, we have blue and green, which is introvert, passive, and reserved. They all have significant things to the one next to them. This illustration shows an example of how they differ. Some people are issue-oriented and others are relation-oriented. Some people will, focus on solving the issue, and some people will focus on protecting the feelings of the people they're solving the issues with. Whatever their approach, they're trying to solve the issue. It's just how they try to solve it. That's the difference. While two of them, red and yellow, are quick to act, the greens and blues are reflective. This is often the source of everyday misunderstandings, both large and small. I will come back to this on page 193. but I would like to take this opportunity to provide some nuances to the illustration of the different core behavior patterns that each color represents. I'm not saying that you would call people idiots, like Storr, who opened my eyes at the beginning of this book. However, in all honesty, all of us on occasion have just stood there unable to comprehend a comment we've heard or watched someone behave in a way that is diametrically opposed to how we would have behaved. And so we believe that they're idiots. Hence the title of the book, Surrounded by Idiots. This reasoning assumes that I am always right, which of course means that the other person and their form of behavior is automatically wrong. It's a tricky question. A wise person once said, "Dad, just because you're right, I don't have to be wrong." We also tend to pay special attention to the faults and shortcomings of others. Child psychologists have argued that the things we find most shocking in the behavior of our children are the things we recognize in ourselves, but wish we didn't do. Clock that T. So who decides what kind of behavior is right and wrong? Time for a real cliche. On the one hand, no one is perfect. There you go, a real platitude. But really, there are no perfect human beings. No one is without faults or shortcomings. I don't know what the word platitude means. I think I get the bow part of it. But let's look it up in case you guys don't know. Platitude is a remark or statement, especially one with a moral content, that has been used too often or to be interesting or thoughtful. Oh, okay. The platitude is no one is perfect. Yeah, we hear that a lot. We hear that even when somebody makes a mistake and they don't want to apologize for it or admit they make a mistake, so they just say nobody's perfect. Just apologize and move on. We already know. Just because you made a mistake, it doesn't mean that that mistake didn't hurt somebody's feelings. So if you care about the person's feelings, you would apologize for making them feel that way in an accident. Even if it's an accident. If you did it on purpose, you wouldn't even want to apologize. You meant it. You know what I mean? Just real quick, I want to see that I'm not. Okay, I just want to check that my phone wasn't dying. I didn't want it to die on us. It's not. Okay, so there are, but really, there are no perfect human beings. No one is without faults or shortcomings. In my youth, I was constantly looking for a role model who would become my mentor in life. That person, a man or woman, completely free from shortcomings. But I never found one. I still haven't. Page 64. I still haven't seen any trace of this elusive perfect human. And of course, that's the way it is. We live with our shortcomings and make the best of things. On the other hand, when we think someone is an idiot, is it really because of their faults and shortcomings or how we fail to understand them? An attribute that may be useful in some situations is unsuitable in others. It's important to remember that communication usually takes place on the recipient's terms. Whatever people's judgment of me may be, that is the way they perceive me, regardless of what I really meant or intended. As always, it's all about self-awareness. Good qualities can become drawbacks in the wrong circumstances, no matter what the quality is. What they mean by it's important to remember that communication usually takes place on the recipient's terms is you gotta communicate based on who you're talking to. You can't communicate like you're talking to a blue when you're talking to a red because they might misunderstand me and think you have beef with them. You have to communicate in a way that they will understand you. Because if they misunderstand you, you never got your point across. So if you're just going to go around letting people misunderstand you, why even communicate in the first place? If you're not going to take some effort and communicate properly. It's very entitled for you to talk to everybody the same way because not everybody understands the same way. What matters is who you're talking to, not who you are. You can't talk to your boss the same way you would talk to your wife. You can't talk to the neighbor the same way you would talk to your wife. I get in trouble. Get where I'm going with this? As a person, you have to mold yourself based on the circumstances, the situation, and people, places, things, whatever. It's not being fake. It's being respectful of time and place, of the people in front of you, making sure that they get where you're coming from. Even if it means lowering your voice so that a green doesn't feel threatened by your red attitude. Even if it means adding more details, even though you want to just say blah like a yellow to a blue. Get where I'm going with this? I hope you do. Quick review of core behavior patterns. Next subtitle on page 64. Quick review of core behavior patterns. Reds are quick and more than happy to take command if needed. They make things happen. However, when they get going, they become control freaks, and they can be hopeless to deal with. And they repeatedly trample on people's toes. I read that faster than I did. Yellows can be amusing, creative, and elevate the mood regardless of who they're with. However, when they are given unlimited space, they will consume all the oxygen in the room. They won't allow anyone into a conversation, and their stories will reflect reality less and less. Guilty. The friendly greens are easily to hang out with because they are so pleasant and genuinely care for others. Unfortunately, they can be too wishy-washy and unclear. Anyone who anyone who never takes a stand eventually becomes difficult to handle. You don't know where they really stand, and indecision kills the energy in other people. True. I know a green. He was posting on social media today and I just got annoyed. If you're not gonna take a stand, just shut up. It's kind of offensive, really. The analytical blues are calm, level-headed, and think before they speak. Their ability to keep a cool head is undoubtedly an enviable quality for all who aren't capable of doing that. However, blues' critical thinking can easily turn to suspicion and questioning those around them. Everything can become suspect and sinister. Yes, I do become cynical. In the following sections, I deal with how people might perceive the weaknesses of certain behavior patterns. Naturally, this is a sensitive area and can be easily misunderstood. When I coach individuals, this is usually where things can get messy. So as you read on, be aware that much is in the eye of the beholder. Who is right and who is wrong? The behavior patterns I am talking about are described as other people may perceive them, even if the intention of the person who just made a fool of himself might have been completely different. Oh, it's about to get juicy. One thing I know for sure regarding the different colors is that each color evaluates themselves in different ways. Reds and yellows tend to inflate their strength and believe that they have no weaknesses. Whoa. They have powerful egos, and a great part of their success can probably be attributed to the fact that they don't get bogged down in faults and shortcomings, but instead look for opportunities and good news. Clearly, this can't be maintained over time. Interesting. You know those people like that just have a confidence and they are not that good of a person, but they just have that confidence? They're probably a red or a yellow. Controversially, greens or blues usually exaggerate their weaknesses and in certain cases even ignore their strengths. I do that sometimes, most times. The consequences are clear. When you give positive feedback to a green or a blue, they sometimes appear to be immune to it and change the subject to something that went seriously wrong. Obviously, this is highly unproductive. Well, are we ready to go? Wow. Okay. Mommy, did you heat up food? Can I have some? I'm hungry. Okay? Okay. I'm starving, guys. Okay, how red people are perceived. This is gonna be amazing for me, for us. Because now we know, we can walk into a room and know red and blue, green, know who you're talking to, and know how you can get perceived in the proper way. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay, 1 second. I'm just gonna eat some chips real quick. Some expired chips. Does anybody have anything to say? Any comments, questions, or concerns? This is my mom heated up food. And the smell got me hungry. Wait, I should finish drinking my water first. Okay, sorry. Not gonna lie. Part of me wants to stop reading now because we reached a subtitle, but I'm not. Because I'm curious to get started on how red people are perceived. Even though I have to use the bathroom and eat. But once my mom gives me my food, then I'll end it. In the meantime, let's find out. If you ask other people about reds, you might get a different picture from the one the red gives of himself. What a surprise. My own private research shows that reds are surrounded by more idiots than the page 66 rest of us. Many people will agree with what you have read up to now about reds, but I have also heard other comments. Usually, they express this when the red is not in the room because they are afraid of his fiery temper. You've heard him say that he wants to hear the truth over the years. He's bellowed into our ears. Say what you think. But as soon as you do, you find yourself in the middle of a heated discussion with an angry red. This means that what you are going to read now will often be completely new for many reds. Not many of us have ever been able to make these points to a red before. It takes way too much energy. Seriously, reds can be annoying. Some people say that reds are just belligerent, arrogant, and egotistical. They are perceived as unyielding, impatient, aggressive, and controlling. Yes. I recently hung out with somebody like that for a whole week and I wanted to kill myself. Because it's like, I can have red traits too, but I can observe in myself when I'm being belligerent, controlling. Belligerent is hostile and aggressive. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that behavior in others, and I don't even like it in myself. So if I don't allow myself to do that to people anymore, thank God, I'm not gonna allow somebody to do that to me. Full for top. Wow. The way that you said reds are surrounded by mostly idiots, I can see that. Even after, even though I haven't read the rest yet, I can definitely see that. Okay? I don't think this is necessarily correct, but I've even heard people speak about people with red behavior as dictatorial and tyrannical. Suddenly, the picture isn't as flattering. The born leader reveals his blemished side. First of all, let me say this. Nothing said previously would necessarily bother a red, because he is more task oriented than relationship oriented. Besides, everyone else is wrong. But let's see what everyone else has to say. Subtitle: Why does everything take so long? Can you speed things up a bit? Well, what can you say? A person willing to step outside any regulatory framework to get ahead is nothing if not impatient. When the usual official channels take too long, a red will scale over a few levels of decision makers and expeditiously look for the person who really calls the shots. The first example that comes to mind was the traffic in my beautiful capital city. Sure, many locals are in more of a hurry than the national average when they sit behind the wheel. There are statistics about this. But since we're talking about red behavior, I have to tell you about a colleague I had a few years ago, Bjorn, and I used a car as our principal means of transportation in and around the city. I simply took it simply took too long to use public transportation. Bjorn lost his license every so often because of his somewhat liberal approach to speed limits. He lived far outside the city, and the journey into the office, about 20 miles away, could take about 40 minutes. That was on a good day. It could just as easily take an hour and a half. Bjorn rarely felt the need to adjust his driving according to the flow of traffic. His opinion was that there was no reason for him to follow every single traffic rule. The posted speed limits here and there, 50, 60, and so on, they were mostly recommendations. They didn't apply to him. They were there for people who didn't really know how to drive a car. On one occasion, I was sitting in the office with a few colleagues having a cup of coffee, discussing the rather serious traffic situation. It felt as if the city was on the verge of a traffic infraction. Bjorn didn't know what we were talking about. He wasn't aware of the problem at all. On the contrary, he felt that the traffic hadn't been bad lately. When we questioned him a bit more, it turned out that he usually drove in the bus lane all the way for over 20 miles. It was so much quicker that way. Bjorn even maintained that this was okay. You could even get a permit for the bus lane. That's what he did. And it cost him about $140 a month. About every 4 weeks, the police stopped him. But it was worth it. Just imagine how much time he saved. And all it cost him was the fines. He felt it was a good deal. This story illustrates quite clearly how red behavior works. They know just as well as everyone that it's wrong to break the rules. However, since it's quicker that way, they do it anyway. Reds are notorious rule breakers. Once again, I would like to remind you of their intentions: to get the job done. Page 68. Reds have no problem taking one or two shortcuts, as long as it's about getting things done. With such a generous approach to regulations and rules, you'll definitely arrive faster. I would even say that a red is often so fast that if something were to go wrong, he would still manage to redo the project at the same time. No one else ever really knows what's going to happen. Space 68. I'm gonna stop here because I have to use the restroom. But I want to thank you guys for being here today. Vaughn for speaking with me. Oh, thank you for being here, guys. I appreciate it. I will try to go back live later whenever I want to read again. But yeah, it was nice to learn more. Crazy. The way you perceive yourself is not the way others perceive you. If you are red or yellow, it means you don't see your flaws. So it's good to read this book. And if you're green or blue, you don't see your great things. You might be depressed. You might be too hard on yourself. Overthink, overwork. Just too much, you know? So, as a blue and a green, I tell you, take it easy and take some time to clap yourself in the back. And as a red, or yellow, take some time to slow down and see how you may be affecting the people around you. Because some people, actually most people will not be able to tolerate it in the long run. They'll leave you behind, and it's not because you're a bad person, but it's because you're unaware of their needs, and sometimes it's good to be aware of that. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me, guys. Sorry. Peace, and thanks for being patient with me. Turn on the notification bell thing so you know when I'm live again and you don't miss out the teachings. IdsoTV out!